Hey y'all, and welcome to the Southern Homemaker. Today we're going to be starting our video on a Proverbs 31 wife. So, before we begin, let me explain. This is going to be more of a in-depth video, so we're going to break it down into several smaller videos since it is such a large topic and it would take way too much time to try to do all in one video. Another thing that I'd like to touch on real quick, that even though this is going to be primarily kind of a faith-based video series, these are all traits and concepts that homemakers, married single women, or even men alike can all adapt into their daily lives and work on becoming a better person, because who doesn't want to do that? Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I know a lot of y'all are probably wondering, what if even is a Proverbs 31 wife? Well, that's a really great question. A Proverbs 31 wife is a wife that is described and the characteristics she embodies, and that will be found in the book of Proverbs, chapter 31, verses 10 through 31. Now, today, since we're focusing on the introductory and kind of overview, I'm going to be focusing on verses 10 through 12 primarily. Let me go ahead and read that and get that started for you. A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. She brings him good and not harm all of the days of her life. Now, that's a lot to digest. And what does that even mean? Okay, so let's go ahead and break that down a little bit. The first part, it says that she is of noble character. Well, that sounds fantastic, but how do you enact that in your day-to-day life? Well, a woman of noble character is one who conducts herself nobly. She walks around town with her head held high. She doesn't use vulgar speech. She doesn't go around gossiping about others and, their situations that they're in. She finds the time to help those less fortunate than her. She's a kind, caring, generous woman and is full of love and warmth to all that she meets. The second part is her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value. That is a second hallmark of every Proverbs 31 wife. When you see a Proverbs 31 wife, you should be able to look at her husband and know that that's what she is. Now, what does that mean? And how can you make sure your husband's not lacking of anything? I mean, it's not like you're denying him anything that he needs or wants, right? Well, let's look into that a little bit further. When it says that he has every confidence in her and he lacks nothing of value, that means he can depend on his wife 100%. You will be able to see this because he will be happy and content in life. He will be thriving and prosperous in everything that they do. If it's work or if it's in their home life or any hobbies or anything that he wants to pursue. He knows that he has you in his corner and that you will always be there for him. Whether it's to go run an errand for him to help make something possible, or if you just simply are sitting in his corner yelling support from the top of your lungs, he knows that he's got you. He is confident that you will be there with him, helping him along. Because isn't that the true role of a wife and helpmate, is to be the helper? Now, the second part, he lacks nothing in value. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean that you're going to be spending all kinds of money to buy your husband the fancy watches and the sports car, golf clubs, anything like that? Well, it could, but not necessarily. It means that he's not lacking anything in value, both spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. It means that you are there to help provide those needs for him. You're there to make him smile on those tougher days. You're there praying for him in silence, in quiet time by yourself, privately. you will meet together with friends and family and pray over him there. Or maybe it's just you and your husband quietly joining up together and praying for him. Maybe you are giving him all the things of value by simply just being the homemaker and making sure his home is a place of peace and sanctuary he can come home to. Something that he can use to help refresh his soul and a way to connect to himself, to the Lord, and to you even more. Now, the last part, it said she brings him good and not evil all of the days of his life. Now, sometimes, I know, especially for me, that can be a little bit on the harder side. I know that sometimes if I've asked my husband to do something, let's say I asked him to run and grab some milk on the way home from work, I know that I have to really fight the urge to not pop off to him when he comes home and he forgot to bring home the milk. A Proverbs 31 wife, to her core, is going to just automatically want to bring him good and not harm. She's not going to sit there and nag and complain and berate him if he didn't do something or if he forgot something. She's going to go out of her way to make sure he feels happy and he feels loved and secure. She's going to be responsible with the individual she associates with. She's going to be frugal and not overspend the money, causing trouble and heartache. She's going to adopt his family into hers so that way there is no conflict surrounding this marriage or anything in general in that life, to help make it a peaceful place for the both of y'all. Now, there is definitely a lot more to cover in the next video, so tune in tomorrow as we cover in the next 3 verses.